My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. These are the demons of Starbucks that are monitoring. First of all, this is not the sun, and you'll see from my images and the Ontario International Airport that's stalking in the path by flying in alignment to my person on Euclid Avenue. The entity has a fake sun as I'm crossing path by the gang stalking by the establishment, and demons that are patrons, this is the federal RICO case, 9AKT425, are monitoring and gang stalking while the fake sun reflects off of a door and it moves in alignment to me was just in alignment with the church. If that was the sun, it's not moving in real time. It's not moving through the windows of these vehicles. It remains stationary, and that's not what's happening when I'm documenting on Omnitrends. Those are demons that are driving in engineer light, and they're engaging what is attacking me with engineer light. These are the demons that are going to federal prison for gang stalking with the Ontario police, and engineer light flings all across the street outside, which is a terrorizing threat. And the sun would still not be here, contrary to what I documented, at 6 p.m. when this fake sun is sitting right here on the top of this building where the Ontario police are gang stalking by helicopter, just like they were last night. All right, and just like I'm documenting the people the state engaging in on a ceaseless basis like they are now. That's not the natural environment. This is where Starbucks is targeting. And they're doing so while they're opening and closing the door, walking in engineer light. These demons are going to federal prison. And they're targeting me while they're inside like cowards, gang stalking me and molesting. This is a sex offense. This is P.O.C. License 8YHH435, license 9AKT425. And going in and purchasing a coffee drink is actually a federal offense. It's a federal RICO case. This is federal criminal monitoring and furtherance of murder. This is P.O.C. And you know that engineer light flies underneath and inside of the buildings while I'm inside of Starbucks because I've thoroughly surrounded them with evidence. They're engaged in federal stalking under Title 18, and it's demonic. They're terrorists, and they're engaged in monitoring the genitalia of American citizens whom they sell coffee to. This is P.O.C., and it's currently 7:27 a.m. 1 a.m. and it is currently Sunday, October 19th, 2025. The video you just listened to is relevant to stalking by the City of Ontario, doing so as demons. This is the Nephilim gang stalking during the day. They're stalking at nightfall using fire trucks. That's stalking with light. Doing so in engineer light while I have multiple shadows all around me. That's stalking with light. They do so as a demon-possessed entity, all together stalking me under a fake sun. And the entity is stalking at 8:40 a.m. with helicopter. That's the same agency that is engaged in stalking me from place to place. And they are also very fearful of what it is that I'm doing as I speak truth, as I expose, as I document and publish it on the internet, as I humiliate based on facts regarding what demons are doing that they don't want spoken about. And it's a government that's interfering with my freedom of speech. Not only that, the freedom that I maintain and the human right that I maintain to enforce my constitutional right to not be subject to terrorism, to not have my vagina monitored by sex offenders hiding around in costumes and calling itself what is a police department so that you don't know that they're predators. This is an entity that is very fearful also as I read scripture, and that's what I'm doing at the Ontario Town Square. The demons are very fearful of what is the reality. I'm going to be clear. This is spiritual. All right, and these are demons that have lost. Satan has lost by virtue of a prosecution, because it's nothing other than physical evidence of what is spiritual warfare that the demons have lost, and they have sacrificed themselves in doing so. And I want to be clear, the entity is stalking by helicopter while they're monitoring on my device. And what they're actually monitoring is, as I'm reading scripture online, which demons are very much intimidated, very fearful of. They are weak, and that's why you're using a whole helicopter. Pay attention. That's why you're using a whole helicopter to stalk little old me. It is the prosecution for the entity that is engaged in gang stalking with that agency. Every single last person that engaged in kidnapping with the City of Ontario is going to federal prison. This is the exposure of terrorists, and this is how American citizens are targeted. And the penalty for committing kidnapping as a terrorist in the United States shall be federal prison and nothing less. Okay, and it's not going to be based on how long you were kidnapped. I have been kidnapped for as long as and exceeding 6 months, and for as short as 12 hours. It is equally unlawful and inhumane where you are subject to surveillance, and the entity did so while I am in the role of federal prosecutor, and you have the audacity to interfere with an ongoing federal case, and you do it before the world. The world is going to witness how terrorism is going to be treated and assessed in the United States, and it's going to be putting terrorists that are masquerading as police departments in prison and putting them in asylums. All right, it is currently 8:43 a.m. The entity is stalking at the Ontario Town Square under the fake sun. Remember yesterday, the entity kept the fake sun over the chevron where the entity engaged in what is flying over my head, that is stalking and terrorizing me, threatening by Paul Leon, who is the substance of the documentation that's being published online, while his unfit character and his status that he maintains as a terrorist, while this is underway on any mayor's watch, you are exposed as a terrorist. You're not secretly engaging in this terrorism, and the entity is incriminating a gang stalking mayor and exposing them
While I am documenting that, the entity engages in what is stalking by helicopter, and that was during the 8 a.m. hour. It's 8:44 a.m. The entity did that at approximately 8:51 a.m. The fake sun is not over the chevron. It's right here over me at the Ontario Town Square, where indeed a demon-possessed population is very fearful as I read the Bible, scripture. Okay? And that's based on what their nature is. These are demons, and these are trembling demonic spirits. And I want to be clear, you're witnessing fear while they stalk me around in helicopters. Those are demons that are very fearful and intimidated. It's not an act of power. It's not an act of force. It's not something that strong people are engaging. This is something that very petrified and weak demons use to intimidate people that they think that they can bully, and the entity's doing against me because they're scared to death. They're scared. They pull out their helicopters when I start speaking truths. And that very criminal conduct, which is documented, is putting them in cages where animals belong. That's where terrorists belong, and that's where they're going. The entity is engaged in gang stalking while they are monitoring on my device, and I'm also going to speak to what it is that I'm doing because it's relevant to prosecution. Not only the fact that you're engaged in federal stalking, but what it is that you are, the intent behind your criminal activity at the moment. And it's relevant to what is scripture. This is getting to their nature. These are demons, very fearful and spiritually inferior. But it's also relevant to what is federal stalking, monitoring on my device. It's legally relevant when I'm documenting, for example, publishing evidence. Those are the demons. Those are the terrorists that are interfering with a federal case, as though you're going to step in federal court and stop a federal judge from engaging in one and entertaining a federal case in a courtroom. You're not, and you're also not going to do it on the internet. This is things that a third-party YouTube has engaged in. These are things that the people of the state monitoring on my device, monitoring on the internet, have engaged in. These are things that this agency has committed, stealing evidence, all of which the penalty is federal prison. This is P.O.C. It's currently 8:46 a.m. And I'm going to go ahead and capture an image of the fake sun. That is, I want to be clear, while the demon-possessed are stalking, pacing on the grounds of the venue, doing so under a fake sun that is distinct from being over me at Chevron. Remember, I'm at Chevron. I'm facing what is essentially east. All right, I'm facing east while I'm at 506 North Euclid Avenue. The entity is engaged in what is flying in circles over me at Chevron while I'm at Ontario Town Square. It is relative to where is in between Ontario Town Square and Chevron is the Arco, is the Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments at 320 North Euclid Avenue, which is north, okay? So I am showing you the fake sun that is over the Ontario Town Square right now. It is in perfect alignment with me, just like it is while I am south of Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, which is not the same address. It's very clear. Even while I am on the opposite side of one building, this is clear evidence of stalking, and it's clear evidence of stalking by a police department, which is committed in furtherance of murder, and they're doing so while they've committed kidnappings. This is relevant to the entity that's committed kidnappings while they were engaged in surveillance. So they knew that they were, in other words, I've already stated this, but this is just connecting all the dots. This is how you're analyzing the evidence. This is how you're going back and looking at what they did, because you are recognizing the P.O.C. in the aggregate when you're looking at the specific environment. So you are also then connecting dots. The entity knows that it's lying about somebody being subject to harassment by myself when they're engaged in gang stalking, which is proven in a specific environment. And it is very much clear while the fake sun is on the north side of the Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, as opposed to yesterday at the same time when it is on the south side of the Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments at 506 North Euclid Avenue, where the entity is engaging in the pattern of stalking with a helicopter. Doing so while they are keeping evidence under surveillance, which is also a federal no-no by the defendant, the state. Okay, this is P.O.C. The entity has the fake sun at the same Ontario Town Square. Also, this is another angle of the same ability to prosecute. The sun's also not going to be on the at the same property at 6 in the evening, which is what I'm also documenting. At 1 o'clock, when the OVITT Family Community Library opens, it's going to be east of the square and over that entrance, which is also not the sun. This is the entity under all circumstances stalking me specifically, just like I'm documenting. And this is an entity that was stalking with light. The fire department using those fire trucks and sirens, that's stalking with noise and light. That's what every demon is doing under a fake sun. The fake sun that remains over me, where all of them are exposed as demons and they're all stalking me. And this is getting to the illusion of a natural environment, normal everyday life where people want to appear as though they're minding their business, going about their day. And this is a demon-possessed population. This is the Nephilim. And their whole existence is staged. It's all about the investment in murdering one person. And the so-called Ontario police are being removed from existence altogether. The city of Ontario is being gutted out. Paul Leon is being removed. He is no mayor. Mike Lorenz is no chief of police. These are terrorist leaders, and they are being ripped out of those positions. And every terrorist that put their hands on me, every terrorist that lied as to the reason why they were, every terrorist that was aided in doing so, the people of the state, criminal summoning, kidnapping as an entity, in furtherance of murder, pursuant to federal stalking, they're going to federal prison. It is currently 8:49 a.m. Those are the demon-possessed that are terrified of me as I read the Bible. Okay, and that's because they know the power of Scripture. And they know the power of Scripture regarding those that walk with Christ. Okay, that's relevant to what is their nature. That's letting you know also that they're demons. It is, and it's also an act of fear. It is currently 8:50 a.m. This is P.O.C. at 224 North Euclid Avenue.
Alrighty, this is indeed Stalking, and that is Delta Airlines. Delta Airlines is a state actor. It's not a private company. Status is based on their criminal activity, which is also facilitation of federal group stalking and monitoring, which is committed in furtherance of murder. And the people of the state are demons, number one, and they're stalking while they're monitoring. And you know all of that based on the position of the fake sun at the same time yesterday, when the population is stalking me on the opposite side of this apartment building where the fake sun is south of this location at the same time at 9:58 a.m. It's currently 9:57, it's 9:58 now, where Delta Airlines is flying what is the north side of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments at 9:58 a.m. where the fake sun is on the opposite side. This is the OVITT. The fake sun is south east of this location while I'm on the opposite side of this apartment building, and the entity is the Ontario International Airport, is the city of Ontario that's going to be stripped regarding an airport used for terrorism and furtherance of murder of an American citizen in concert with the people of the state who are engaged in surveillance. At 224 North Euclid Avenue, where this sun, this is a fake sun, this is the identification of a crime scene and the identification of criminals engaging in what is a malicious targeting system. And the fake sun is at the same time on the opposite side of this apartment building yesterday, where I am then documenting walking to this location, to that OVITT Family Community Library, and the fake sun is at 10:04 a.m. over the entrance of this library, 215 E.C. Street, where it's still over that entrance after 4 p.m. This is all under all circumstances identifying the people of the state, who are the people of the state that use commercial airline planes, as well as the prosecution of Delta Airlines, which is a domestic terrorist. The entity is engaged in the same criminal conduct as the Ontario police, who are targeting and furtherance of murder. And they also share that condition. These are demons who are exposed in their demonic environment, where their criminal activity is also exposed as well. This is also the basis of the ability to recognize a threat to national security, which is the identification of mass pervasive mental illness, psychopathic in nature. The fake sun is not the natural environment where the sun would be on the opposite side of this apartment building. And if it was a sun, this is 10 a.m. The entity has the fake sun on the opposite side of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments while I'm in the parking lot. And while I'm in the parking lot, I'm facing this direction. While I am on the what is the north side of this apartment building, and I'm facing this direction, the sun wouldn't be in this direction. It would be behind my person south, if it was the natural environment, and it also would not be hovering low. It's shorter than the clock. This is common sense scrutiny of the environment, but you're also getting to time of day, direction that I'm facing, what the entity is doing in the environment. Where the fake sun is where they are stalking the targeted individual, and the fake sun at the same time yesterday is on the opposite side of this apartment building, which is, again, Sarah's Regis group. That is gang stalking as well. It is currently 10 a.m. This is P.O.C. Time is 10:02 a.m. Capturing that video, showing you the evidence. The case is already complete against the state of California and the exposure of the Nephilim, who are engaged in targeting American citizens in the way that the U.S. government in California is exposed. The mentally ill are engaged in repeating the ongoing evidence of them stalking while they're being documented. It's 10:02 a.m. The entities, that's the mental illness, by the way. So at the same time yesterday, the entity is indeed engaging in the pattern of conduct where you are listening to what is evidence of stalking and also evidence of mental illness. And this is shared by the entity that is using planes and helicopters to target an American citizen in furtherance of murder. And while we are going over that, I just want you to see the faces of those that are going to be subject to what is federal prison. Engaging in what is surveillance is the entity that is calling itself a police department.
and the entity that is targeting in furtherance of murder, which is the entity that is engaging in gang stalking using commercial airline planes, doing so under the corrupt leadership of somebody that is entirely unfit for office. This is under the watch, the knowing criminal and corrupt conduct. This is Paul Leon's handiwork. He's being removed from office for the criminal monitoring that the city of Ontario is obviously engaging in, as now what are acts of desperation when you are caught engaging in what is stalking in the absurdly psychopathic manners that the city of Ontario is. You do not engage in more of it in real time while it's being captured, but for being a psychopath and the demons that are engaging in that. This is shared by the leadership of the Ontario International Airport. These are terrorists, and they are going to be subject to what is removal from position. They are losing their jobs. They will never have anything to do with any sort of airport or flights, pilots, any sort of leadership, and they're going to be, with regard to prosecution, identified as the domestic terrorists that they are. And every plane that's coming from the Ontario International Airport is doing so with the knowledge of these terrorists who are going to be removed from the positions where they pose a threat to the national security, and they pose a threat to the public. While the entities engaged in what is targeting me, this is what the city of Ontario is doing against ordinary American citizens that don't have the evidence of the P.O.C. to prove that psychopaths, the Nephilim, corruption at the level of what is a local and state government and federal government is engaging in what is targeting American citizens in ways in which defy what a normal human being can fathom. That's what's relevant regarding the plane activity that you're listening to while demons are sitting back watching me expose them. Now, yesterday at the same time, you looked at what was the entity stalking in planes like they are now, and doing so, and I want you to listen to it, and you're going to pay attention to where I'm located. What you're looking at is the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, and in this video, what you're looking at is the downtown Ontario luxury apartments right here. On the, what is the north side is at the top. This is the south side of the same apartment building where the fake sun is at the same time over me, where the entity is identified as stalking. And the fake sun is on different sides of the same apartment building at the same time, where you're looking at also what is evidence of stalking, not only because no flights are taken off from the airport by hovering over Saris Regis, downtown Ontario luxury apartments, engaging in U-turns, doing so, which is evident under a fake sun. The sun that's still at the same Ontario Town Square after 6 p.m. In addition to that, I'm just showing you what is the fake sun at the same time while this airport, under the corrupt leadership of Paul Leon and Alan D. Wapner and a so-called Ontario board and a so-called Ontario executive team, sharing in the pattern of conduct by the so-called Ontario Police Department, are engaging in what is aerial surveillance and furtherance of psychological torture, which precedes murder committed by an entity that is demon-possessed, engaging in what is sacrifices unto Satan. That's what's relevant regarding this demonic environment and this blatant stalking using commercial planes. While I'm showing you a fake sun that's directly next to the clock, north of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, and I'm showing you this fake sun that's over me in the parking lot of what is the Chevron where the Arco where I'm located. Okay, this is not next to the clock. What you see here at what is, I'm starting this video at 9:58 a.m. is not here. It's very distinct. It's very clear. In fact, the apartment building itself stands between these two landmarks, identifying where the fake sun is situated over me at the same time, where you're looking at the evidence of an airport that is targeting. Airports are targeting in furtherance of murder, engaging in psychological torture, harassment, and with the intent to terrorize an American citizen. And they are mentally ill psychopaths who do so. In fact, they're so delusional and psychopathic, they engage in more of it, like you hear at the outset of this video, based on what is a guilty conscience, and psychopaths engage in more criminal conduct, more sexual violence, more terrorism as they are engaged, as they are demonic spirits. These are not normal human beings. These are the Nephilim. They engage in more violence as they are caught being exposed as demons and engaging in what is targeting American citizens, targeting people. Okay, and that's what's relevant regarding this video that I'm capturing of the entity stalking today. Flying what is the north side of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments at 9:58 a.m. where the fake sun is on the opposite side. This is the OVIT. The fake sun is south east of this location while I'm on the opposite side of this apartment building, and the entity is, and that's what you're looking at here, and this is what is happening at the people of the state. That's their legal term under the law where domestic terrorism is exposed in the state of California. Alrighty, this is
9:57 a.m. This has nothing to do with any takeoff from the airport at 2500 Airport Drive, nor any landing at the airport, a takeoff or a landing. This is flying what is in alignment to my person, just like I showed you at the Ontario Town Square. And they're doing the same thing, stalking in my path, doing so where I'm positioned in the parking lot and doing a U-turn because the Ontario International Airport's not engaged in what is doing donuts for show, for pay. They're engaged in stalking, and psychopaths that are meant to so using helicopters do so as the people of the state. That's their legal term under the law where domestic terrorism is exposed in the... This is the entity that's in clearly distinct locations with the fake sun. I'm on opposite positions of the OVITT Family Community Library. Yesterday at this time, I then walked from this parking lot, showing the fake sun moving as I move, showing stalkers the entire time engaging in surveillance with the government that's using planes and helicopters, doing so as I am walking from the venue toward the library. The fake sun is now west of this entrance, already at the Ontario Town Square area. But yesterday, at this time, I am showing you what is the absence of that fake sun. As I approach this location, the fake sun remains over me in doing so. You see how it's moving as I move, as I approach. What is this location where I'm at now, facing the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, where this fake sun is in this same position in the afternoon. This is 215 East C Street. This is the C Street turn circle. This is where I'm at in this video, facing this location in the absence of any sun over here, okay? And this is in this video where you're looking at what is impossible, an inconsistent environment. That is an environment that's tailored to the targeted individual who is indeed being stalked, who is indeed being monitored by demons, who is indeed under surveillance by a demon-possessed population and a corrupt government. This is the removal of Paul Leon from office. This is the removal of Mike Lorenz and Michael Gherkin and Alan D. Wapner, and the removal of the airport, the fire department, the entity that's engaging in surveillance in these ways, okay? It is currently, by the way, 10:10 a.m. This is the absence of any sun over the OVITT Family Community Library, where I'm capturing it as I walk in at 10:04 a.m. That's where Southwest Airlines and Delta Airlines are engaging in the demonic pattern of conduct, and they do so in furtherance of murder, just like Starbucks, that is sharing in what is a kidnapping with the Ontario police. They're doing so while they keep evidence of them terrorizing an American citizen that they are keeping under surveillance in furtherance of a criminal objective to murder. They're doing so with knowledge of that evidence, and this is the ongoing absence of any sun over that entrance, contrary to what I'm documenting at this time yesterday when I'm walking into the entrance of the library, and the fake sun is remaining over me as I walk into that venue. This is captured at 10:05 a.m. It is 10:11 a.m. There is no such sun that is over these demons who are engaging in monitoring vagina in the bathrooms, who are gang stalking demons. And this is what they're doing outside, being gang stalking demons. The demons that are engaging in what is kidnapping with the city of Ontario are going to federal prison. And it includes those that are stalking in commercial planes with that Ontario Police Department. I've documented their cooperative acts of monitoring while they're wearing nothing other than police uniforms, being the same demon-possessed entity, and doing so using helicopters, the most terrorizing means that American citizens are targeted with, and they are exhibiting demon possession in doing so. This is a fake sun that is not over the OVITT Family Community Library, where I'm documenting, by the way, since we're capturing it. We are at 9 minutes, but I'm gonna go ahead and capture it anyway because the fake sun remains over the OVITT Family Community Library at 4:25 p.m. That's this entrance right here. That's this entrance right here, where the sun is still not present. Speaking to stalking, that's crossing path. This entire apartment building is filled with gang stalkers. This bank, everybody that goes to work, everybody that goes to the ATM thinking that nobody knows that they're demons and that they're stalking a specific person. They're gang stalking in furtherance of murder, and they know exactly who the target individual is. They know exactly what the target individual is saying and documenting on their device. They know the status of the targeted individual's vagina, which is exactly why they are going to be documented and prosecuted as sex offenders in the state of California. And this is the categorical identification of mental illness that is covering a population that is engaging in this demonic pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:12 a.m. And just to show you one more vantage point, the entity that's engaged in this pattern of conduct is doing so with regard to the clear placement of that fake sun, which is remaining on clearly distinguishable positions of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments.
The entity has the fake sun at the Chevron right here, where I am standing at the Arco parking lot right here, where I am standing in that parking lot, and the entity is maintaining that fake sun on this side. This is the downtown Ontario luxury apartment building here, and this is the Ontario Town Square. The fake sun's on this side of the apartment, where the entity is stalking with planes on this side of the apartment building. And today, at the same time, I'm capturing video of the entity with the fake sun over me at this Ontario Town Square, where the fake sun is on the north side of this same apartment building, and the entity is maintaining a fake sun over me, showing you that government that is stalking in concert with the people of the state. This is not traffic, it's surveillance, and that is not the operations of a legitimate airport. It is surveillance, and it's committed in furtherance of murder. This is indeed the pattern of conduct, and the gang stalking mayors throughout the state of California are being removed from office, being exposed as domestic enemies in the United States. Okay, terrorism in the United States is occurring by homegrown terrorists that hate this country, and you are witnessing them and their openly exposed demise for the Constitution and the American citizens enforcing their constitutional rights. They want to be sex offenders, they want to be serial killers, they want to be thieves, and they want to do it in violation of your constitutional rights and human rights, and that is speaking to those that are a threat to this country as a population practices that, okay? This is the ease with which the people of the state are gang stalking, and it is the P.O.C. All right, going on surveillance cameras, though, this is how you're going to prosecute, because the government is going to produce the business records, and this is how you're going to prosecute and identify those that are stalking in the path on behalf of a government, and does it through millions of people at one time. All right, this is P.O.C. I'm going to document these license plates, and this is the body of evidence speaking to, and that fake sun moves as I move. It's still not over. The entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library. This is speaking to demons that are stalking. Going to the ATM is a means of criminal presence in the path. They're not focused on getting money out the bank. They're gang stalking. This is impossible light activity. This is not sunlight, nor is it the sun. These are demons. 8BPH260, 8XQV236, and let me show you what else. This is surveillance. These are the sex offenders that molest with impossible light. They know who you are. They are stalking, and this is the Nephilim. And the fake sun moves as I move. 240 North Euclid Avenue. This is P.O.C. And they are indeed engaged in what is targeting American citizens. That's engineer light stationary on the wall, and it's also dynamic while demons cross path. And Wells Fargo is a gang stalking venue. Wells Fargo is engaged in the P.O.C. Wells Fargo is a facilitating venue. Wells Fargo is knowingly engaging in what is that corrupt system. And these are the demon possessed that engage in surveillance with the government and furtherance of murder. P.O.C. It is currently 10:15 a.m. This is how a population is going to be prosecuted. And this is the federal RICO case against every business in California that's engaged in that pattern of conduct. It's federal stalking under Title 18 on the roads and the highways. And it's federal stalking with regard to the impossible light activity as they're monitoring while they're engaging in that ongoing violence and terrorism and psychological torture. P.O.C. Currently 12:51 p.m. on Sunday, October 19, 2025. So there are various angles to recognize where domestic terrorists are being exposed while they are hiding amongst American citizens and in this country, and even concealing themselves amongst the government, the local government, as I'm exposing domestic terrorism in the state of California and what is happening throughout the states. Proven through what is a fake sun that's remaining over me, a grand departure from being over the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library, by the way, and also a grand departure for being anything remotely close to being over the West Valley Detention Center. That's what I am making sure everyone hears very clearly. The West Valley Detention Center at 9700 Etiwanda Avenue in Rancho Cucamonga. At the same time, the fake sun is doing this same thing. It's maintaining this presence over the top of my head following a kidnapping by the City of Ontario, because that's what the Ontario City Hall represents. That's what the gang stalkers of the Ontario International Airport, the gang stalkers of the Ontario Police Department, the gang stalkers of the Ontario Fire Department sharing presence in this civic center represent while they're gang stalking as demons under a fake sun targeting me by virtue of the supernatural reality that I'm documenting in order to prosecute the demon possessed, a malicious government body that's engaging in what is a conspiracy to murder by gang stalking in concert with the people. The entity is at 12:51 p.m. The fake sun is over 9700 Etiwanda Drive. That's West Valley Detention Center, where Shannon Dykes is engaged in kidnapping with the City of Ontario. And the entity is also keeping this fake sun over the Ontario City Hall, 303 East B Street, which is not over the staircase inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. It's not even over the building. It's not even that direction. I have to turn and pivot to show you that's the OVITT Family Community Library, and the sun is not anywhere over a staircase where you would have any
sunlight appearing on the inside of that library, on the floor, on the bottom floor. That's some piercing light in the first place that would never exist, especially when the fake sun is over that entrance at 10 a.m. in the morning. And I'm documenting that the fake sun is at 12:51 p.m. That's over almost 3 hours later. In addition to what is the ongoing analysis at same time and the duration of time where the fake sun is both rising and setting. Big picture, while I'm standing at the venue of the street that's facing the OVITT Family Community Library right here at 7 o'clock in the morning, this is where the fake sun is, where I'm standing over there. This is an illusion, and this is the illusion that's going to put kidnappers of the Ontario Police in federal prison while they're engaged in what is targeting in an environment where everything is covered with engineered light, and that is affecting your communication devices that are under surveillance, which is in violation of everyone's constitutional rights and a violation of mine, while criminal monitoring is underway by gang stalking law schools, by gang stalking city halls, gang stalking mayors, gang stalking populations that are engaging in this is public corruption, okay? And the Ontario City Hall is a facilitative unit. That is a crime scene where I'm also documenting this fake sun, this same circumstance at 10 o'clock in the morning when the entity is engaged in what is hosting an event. The entity is engaged in what is monitoring me. Like I stated, the demons are under the fake sun engaging in what is the obsession with the target individual, not the guise of what is the illusion presented before you. Oh, it's a food festival. Oh, it's a Route 66 show. Oh, it's a kids event with regard to reading books and literacy. They're demons and they're gang stalking, and they're all psychopaths under a fake sun, keeping my vagina under surveillance. And bigger picture, where the fake sun is still here as I walk out of this library at 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, this is where the Ontario City Hall is, and this is the corruption of this government building and the demons that sit in there calling themselves a city hall. These are domestic terrorists. These are vagina monitoring demons. This is the Nephilim, esteeming themselves higher than they ought to, because they're nothing other than criminals, and they are being removed from office. This is P.O.C. It is currently 12:55 p.m. This is indeed the Ontario City Hall, and this is the movement of a fake sun that is remaining over me, moving as I move, which is pursuant to what is a pattern of conduct. This would not be in this position, because this is the position of the fake sun when I'm standing down yonder and I'm capturing the fake sunrise as in alignment with this street at 7 o'clock in the morning, and here it is over the top of my head, moving as I move. Stalking. That's what identifying stalking. Everybody inside of the Ontario City Hall is a gang stalking demon, engaging what is surveillance on devices, which is a criminal surveillance system that's underway by the U.S. government in the state of California and throughout this country. Okay? The entity is engaging what is maintaining ongoing surveillance while I'm being terrorized every day and every night at the Ontario Town Square. The Ontario City Hall is the facilitating venue. While I'm being gang stalked by commercial planes, the entity, the Ontario City Hall, is in relevant position monitoring, keeping my vagina, stalking me in the bathroom, maintaining surveillance in and around that bathroom. The Ontario City Hall is in relevant position. Paul Leon is being removed from office because he is unfit. His mental illness as one that is of the Nephilim. He's a demon. He's also corrupt, while he's a fake gang stalking pastor who is engaging what is criminal activity while seeking to hide underneath titles such as mayor. He is no mayor. He's an enemy of the United States. He's an enemy of the Constitution and American citizens whom I represent while I'm being targeted in the city of Ontario. It is currently 12:56 p.m. This is P.O.C. That is indeed engaged in stalking in the path. You're looking at the same pattern, getting in alignment to where my person is situated, crossing path under the fake sun with the demons that go inside of the library, engaging in surveillance, doing so where the fake sun is over me. This is the same Ontario City Hall. Not going toward the Ontario's town square down that way because I'm not down there. Not flying over Euclid Avenue, making a U-turn over the Arco parking lot, which would be on this side of my person because I'm not over there. This is the planes. This is indeed the pattern of conduct surveillance using our airline planes, commercial planes of the Ontario International Airport that's going to be removed altogether. It's a function of terrorism in the state, and it's a function of terrorism in the city. And they are clearly targeting with regard to the use of science to show how this is, first of all, not possibly the sun. And the entities engaging in what is a very clear pattern of stalking me using commercial planes, doing so while I am capturing it. It's 12:58 p.m. and the demons are doing the same thing, flying in alignment over the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, which, by the way, bigger picture, the sun still wouldn't even be over this civic center. The Arco is just on the opposite side, but you're looking at what is that tailored presence with the fake sun hovering over me, where demons are engaged in making U-turns, where they get in alignment to my person, and this is where they engage in making a U-turn. That's stalking. The significance of being an engineered light is noise and presence. A demon going to the trash can is gang stalking in concert with the demons that are stalking me by planes and helicopters, stalking in the path, and that's somebody that knows that. This is the elaborate system of gang stalking. They're pacing. The vehicle and the person on foot are pacing. Demons under a fake sun. This is P.O.C. And that's why that plane that has a demon flying it doesn't extend and go on beyond whereas I'm showing you Amazon Prime gang stalking in a plane as I'm at the entrance of that library. This is P.O.C. It's 12:59, and Paul Leon is being removed because of the ongoing plane stalking over his office, over the city hall, where there are no takeoffs. And you're not taking off here, and then you're also still taking off over Stater Brothers. That's the entity that is stalking under that fake sun. And these are the demons that don't have a defense in court. These are the demons that have engaged in criminal defamation. They've engaged in kidnapping, and they've engaged in ongoing harassment and keeping genitalia under surveillance with the demon-possessed people of the state. And they are being removed from position. Enemies of the United States include company names such as Southwest Airlines, Amazon Prime, Delta Airlines, all of those that are engaging in what is the ongoing unabated program of psychological torture and furtherance of murder. It is no small thing that what Amazon Prime and what Southwest Airlines are doing in plain view as I'm publishing it in a public investigation. They are openly show you how they are a threat to your life and to what is this country. And that's not going to be forgotten with regard to their reputation, the sustenance of their businesses that they don't have any constitutional rights to maintain because it's terrorism. But not only that, with regard to your position towards such enemies of this country. Pay attention. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, and this is gang stalking as I'm speaking to. This is the same that the fake sun was in this morning. I'm at the same location, and this is the same stalking by an airport that's doing so with the people of the state, demons that maintain presence. This is conspicuous stalking, and it's supposed to appear as every day. And under the fake sun, nothing appears as such. Neither appears such when not only a fake sun is over the same person at the same address, and it literally went back east to be over the entrance, and then right back to the same location where it's at on what is now the west side of my person at the same wall. And that's, again, the demons that are monitoring my vagina, stalking while coming back to the same location where I captured screen video this morning, where the entity is keeping the fake sun on the north side of the same apartment building. And engaging in what is stalking using an airport that has no takeoffs, that would create no disturbance in the environment, where they're taking off from 2500 Airport Drive. They are hovering over this venue where a fake sun is still present, and it is present not only based on the fact that it's still here over me, but the fact that the duration of time, and with regard to the analysis speaking to everywhere else that the body of the P.O.C. shows, where I've already shown at the same time the entity is keeping the fake sun over me at the Fontana Lewis Library. The entity is keeping the fake sun over me while I'm on the freeways, on the roads and the highways in my vehicle, and the fake sun's over my sunroof while it is currently 4:11 p.m. and I am documenting the entity keeping a fake sun outside of my hotel room over the top of my head, wherever city I'm in, capturing that P.O.C. These are the demons that are engaging what is a sex offensive surveillance in bathrooms. These are the mentally ill that you are able to readily identify. These are the demon possessed, the Nephilim, and they include minor children in that. This is the pattern of conduct. It's currently this is 224 North Euclid Avenue, and it's 4:12 p.m. The sun would not be at the same location. This is the clock, the infamous clock. This is the same town square where the entity was stalking by helicopter. This is the same venue where the entity is doing so at nightfall. You know what? This is all engineered light. And at nightfall, when they have multiple shadows and they're walking back and forth and their kids are screaming, being activity creators, and the people of the state are stalking with impossible light, this is impossible light activity as well, because it's not the sun. This is P.O.C. This is the prosecution of the state of California. And you are gang stalking with planes and helicopters because you do so in furtherance of murder. And you also do so while you keep my genitalia under surveillance, which is a sex offense of a federal nature, which is going to be appreciated under federal law. And it is that which precedes murder committed by a government as an entity. This is P.O.C. This is stalking. Same location they were stalking this morning, the fake sun over me at 8 o'clock at the same wall. And this is where the fake sun is, and that's the entity that's stalking. Flying over my head by a small plane. That's what happened about 60 seconds ago. Ongoing systematic stalking by the Ontario National Airport and stalking by the City of Ontario. The Ontario Police Department. It's not a police department. They're being disbanded. This is the entity openly being demons. They're no longer secretly engaging in what is demonic activity. They're also no longer secretly engaging in what is targeting and furtherance of murder. They're doing it before the world, and they will be disbanded for it. This is the ongoing ceremonious outward demonstration of mental illness, pacing in a circle, flying over me while they are stalking. Doing so at what is 5:40 in the afternoon. Remember, the entity is keeping the fake sun aimed through the entrance of that library while I'm inside, while the people of the state are being demon stalking on behalf of the city of Ontario, including in the bathrooms. This is a sex offender that's also engaging what is sexual violence and furtherance of murder and psychologically harmful and sexually violent conduct. This is what demons engage in. This is gang stalking. This is going on the internet as well. This is pursuant to the pattern of conduct. I want to be clear, Paul Leon's office is right down here where I captured the fake sun at 12:51 p.m. This is non-movement at the same exact 224 North Euclid Avenue. These are demons that are engaged in what is failed witchcraft. Okay, this is spiritual, what they're doing, and it is ineffective toward me. And this is the documentation, which is capturing what is also ineffective spiritual work. This is witchcraft that the demon possessed that are calling themselves a police department in the city of Ontario and the people of the state are engaging in. That's the significance of the demonic environment of a fake sun. Okay, this is P.O.C. The entities engaging, I want you to see where is those are indeed demons. This is targeting. This is absolutely impossible. This is speak exclusion that there was any sun in any other state, let alone in any other city, on any other street, while the entity engages in this Aston entity. And that's mental illness exhibited while you're pacing over and also stalking in a helicopter and doing so maliciously as what's one that wants to appear as law enforcement when they're engaged in criminal surveillance and furtherance of murder. That malice is relevant to mental illness as well. It's relevant to that which is committed in furtherance of murder. These demons are engaged in what is monitoring. Monitoring is demonic. These are the demon possessed. They're being removed from the ability to conceal themselves as a police department. The gang stalking mayor is being removed from office. And this is the P.O.C. that Paul Leon is being removed from office for. He's fully aware of, and you will be held responsible and accountable for this public corruption of gang stalking and furtherance of murdering American citizens. This is P.O.C. It's 5:42 p.m. This is why Tracy Banks is going to federal prison. All right, this is the same street where her and Eric Spencer are stalking me under the fake sun, where the same city of Ontario is gang stalking. They're not ignorantly engaging in that. Nor did they ignorantly engage in kidnapping with that agency and criminal defamation with that agency. They're going to prison. So is Jason Isaac Fields. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 5:42 p.m. All right, in the same way that you're looking at what is impossible light. This is impossible light rapidly disappearing. None of that is sunlight. Environment when they're stalking at nightfall in what is impossible light, multiple shadows all over the ground. All right, that's engineer light, audible activity, crossing paths, stalking by demons. And this is the evidence that's going to be used for targeting domestic terrorists in the United States. Mike Lorenz is a stalker, keeping my vagina under surveillance, and so is Michael Gherkin. So is Alan D. Wapner. Everybody on the so-called Ontario board, everybody that's engaging on the so-called Ontario executive team. The city of Ontario is engaged in what is criminal surveillance and furtherance of murder. And their co-defendant, Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields, Eric Corey Spencer, Tommy Allen Banks, Ariana Elena Lopez, Carrie Heberlin, Edwin Lamont Grant, Morgan Amanda Smith, anybody that sat in court lying on my character while they've been engaged in gang stalking, they're all going to federal prison, and so is every kidnapper of the Ontario police. Okay? They did so pursuant to this targeting system, and they miscalculated, thinking that any American citizen, let alone myself, the federal prosecutor, is going to be defamed so that you can use a fake conservatorship and criminal defamation, manufactured information regarding what are corrupt state actors that are not medical professionals, not legitimate ones, don't have any relationship with me, targeting me in the same way that the city of Ontario is, in order to what is engaging kidnapping, and that is ultimately in furtherance of murder. This is P.O.C. Wells Fargo is gang stalking. That's why the fake sun was over me this morning. They're engaged in what is public corruption while they're gang stalking on the roads and the highways, and they're stalking in plain sight, because that's what this is. And the entity is going to be disbanded for the corruption that the city of Ontario is engaging in concert with a corrupt police department that's entirely, absurdly, mentally ill. This is mental illness that is pervasive, okay, and it's shared by the people of the state. It is currently 5:44 p.m. This is P.O.C. That's demonic pacing, just like they did in the helicopter. He's not walking to the trash can to dispose of something. He's a demon that's pacing with a communication device under the fake sun at 224 North Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun was present this morning. P.O.C. Gang stalking at Wells Fargo. P.O.C. Here's the again, flying back as I begin processing the video. Pursuant to the same P.O.C. Monitoring now the evidence of me capturing them stalking, going back and forth, and it is indeed targeting me specifically. This is where the fake sun is remaining. This is the pattern of conduct. I want to be clear, Jason Fields, Tracy Banks, Eric Spencer, Tommy Allen Banks, they're all going to prison. And every kidnapper. The demons that sat at this Ontario Town Square stating that I was harassing the people of the state, when they're maliciously making up information that I prove unilaterally with my evidence, they're going to prison. They're going to federal prison. So is the Securitas security guard. They're engaged in gang stalking. They're going to federal prison. The fake son is on the same street where L. Edwards is kidnapping with Alex Escobar and A. Quesada. They're going to federal prison. This is the same street. Starbucks is on the opposite side of this building. They're going to federal prison for kidnapping with that agency. It's currently 5:50 p.m. and this conspicuous stalking by the people of the state, this is gang stalking in Ontario, California. Paul Leon's being removed from office for this public corruption that's happening on his watch. In the same way that minor children contributing to their delinquency while they're gang stalking with their gang stalking parents who are demon stalking with impossible light under a fake sun. They're not ignorantly in this environment walking in impossible light. They're gang stalking and they're going to prison. This is P.O.C.
All right, this documentation is relevant to, by the way, it's currently 6:58 p.m. So the videos that you've listened to is following the fake sun that's remaining over the same entrance. Remember, the library opened today at 1 p.m., but I'm capturing the fake sun over that entrance at business hours at 10 a.m., and I'm capturing it before 10 a.m., 7:39 in the morning, 7:55 a.m. over that same entrance when you're looking at the illusion. For example, when I'm inside of the parking garage and I'm capturing that fake sun outside of that mesh metal window space inside of that parking garage that's filled with engineer lighting, you see the fake sun there, as though that's the explanation for the engineer light above my head inside of that parking garage. But that's where the entity keeps the fake sun, and it's also over the same entrance where it is over me at 215 U.S.C Street, the OVITT Family Community Library. The fake sun is over upon the exit today as a matter of documentation at 4 p.m. The fake sun then goes right back to, which is east, as I walk back to the Ontario Town Square, which is at the same Civic Center area, 224 North Euclid Avenue at 4 p.m. The fake sun is where it was at 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning when I show you the screen recording of the fake sun that's not over the OVITT Family Community Library when the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking me at 9:57 at the same time it was yesterday at 9:58 on both opposite sides of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, where you see the fake sun that is north of my person in the Arco parking lot, while the Ontario International Airport is flying north of me on the south side of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments. And today, where the Ontario International Airport is stalking as demons, using planes in furtherance of murder to psychologically torture, harass, threaten, and intimidate in concert with a population that is in that environment to share in that same criminal pattern of conduct. The fake sun is north of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, and it is north of my person as I'm looking at it, facing the big clock at the Ontario Town Square, and the demons of the Ontario International Airport are flying north of my person while I'm facing that fake sun that is on the opposite side of the apartment that it was at the same time yesterday. And that is captured in screenshots. It's discussed in what is the screen recording. It is also on the podcast, so you heard it. And you can look at that visual, looking at what is the fake sun on the opposite sides of one apartment building at the same time, while you're looking at what is stalking under that fake sun that's over me on both sides of that apartment complex, where it remains as I exit the OVITT Family Community Library after 4 p.m. until the sunset after 6 p.m. Now, the entity engaged in what is maintenance of surveillance, gang stalking me by planes and helicopters. And the entity is doing so by maintaining an ongoing line. The entity is not flying over Holt Boulevard with these planes. It's not flying north of my person on the opposite side of the apartment complex. The entity is maintaining a line, a beeline, stalking right where I'm located, flying over the 280 North Limit Apartments, flying over the field of the Ontario Town Square, flying adjacent to the large clock, just like it was this morning, and that's where it's remaining, that based on where I'm seated. And when I am moving around at the square, when I walk away from the square, that's when the demons move with regard to stalking using commercial planes. And this is what I documented the entity stalking at 4:10 p.m. And you will see the evidence of the fake sun where the entity is stalking. And this is after the exit of the OVITT Family Community Library where the fake sun is remaining. This is combined with what is the fake sun at the same address, 224 North Euclid Avenue this morning. And this is also part of the greater pattern of conduct where this could not be the sun, for example, when I'm in Los Angeles at Planet Fitness off of Washington, and at around the same time, 4:10 p.m., the fake sun is over my sunroof, over the top of my head. That is, in Southwest Airlines is gang stalking me in Los Angeles. That is LAX is gang stalking. That is the city of Los Angeles is gang stalking. That is the state of California is gang stalking me. Okay, this is where an entity is maintaining aerial surveillance, flying over my head with a small plane. That's the government, that's the city of Ontario, maintaining ongoing gang stalking conduct using commercial planes, deviating from any takeoffs from the airport. They're not taking off from the airport by flying over 224 North Euclid Avenue, doing so while they're hovering. The entity's doing the same thing, hovering over the Ontario City Hall. The entity's engaging what is hovering over the Stater Brothers parking lot, which is west of this location. The entity's not engaging in takeoffs and landings, especially when they're also engaging in what is doing nothing other than pacing, donuts, flying toward me, and then making a U-turn. And it is toward me because this is where the fake sun is over me. That's giving you what is the target with regard to who is stalking who and who is being targeted, who is being stalked by a population in that environment. It is not the people of the state. It is not the government. It is also not normal, everyday, ongoing, innocent conduct because they are under what is a scientific impossibility. So is at nightfall where they're all pacing around, because that's what you're doing in engineer light. These are cockroaches and they're pacing and they're all stalking in that same environment. It's impossible light, as you are now aware of, because it's not the sun, nor is it sunlight. You're always looking at impossible light activity. And in this environment, at the Ontario Town Square, the entity is stalking. Doing so, as I documented in images, and this is relevant to the city of Ontario that's acting in furtherance of murder. This is, I was about to say license plate, excuse me. I did document license plates, and everybody that I'm documented by license plates are sharing in the criminal pattern of conduct with the government that's maintaining aerial surveillance, okay? 4:10 p.m., 4:13 p.m., 4:50 p.m., 5:11 p.m., 5:24 p.m., 5:38 p.m., a small plane is flying directly over my head as I take a picture of it, and then I zoomed in to take a screenshot so you could see it, but that's at 5:38 p.m., and so the screenshot will be at like 5:38 p.m. in some seconds, or perhaps goes into 5:39 p.m., but I immediately take a screenshot after I take the picture. It's at 5:38 p.m. At 5:39 p.m., 60 seconds later, approximately 60 seconds, the entity then encircles me with helicopter activity, doing so after the entity flies over my head by a smaller plane. And then at 5:49 p.m., after Demon is stalking using a helicopter, speaking to an agency which is acting in conformity to a city's pattern of conduct, a statewide pattern of conduct. The entity then engages in what is stalking me again, that is engaging in what is monitoring me using the specific method of helicopter activity, which is designed to threaten the life, psychologically torture, and terrorize you because the police are engaging in gang stalking. That's the purpose, and that's the analysis behind the any police department engaging in gang stalking. At 5:49 p.m., the demon then progresses toward me again in another helicopter as I then begin processing the video evidence of them stalking me in a helicopter at 5:39 p.m. That's the entity that's engaging in what is Title 18 federal stalking, also of the evidence. So you're already stalking me, and then they engage in more of this terrorism as I then proceed to publish it, put it on X, put it on Threads, put it on Facebook, put it on YouTube. Capture screenshots of the people of the state that are gang stalking me in concert with that agency, with that city. Okay, this is the entity as I'm capturing in video after video and picture after picture, coming back and flying over my head again, flying in circles again, flying around the perimeter again, doing so under the fake sun that's remaining at the same address. They are specifically stalking me. Okay, the entity is engaging in this as I'm documenting at 6:07 p.m., 6:27 p.m., 6:40 p.m., and 6:50 p.m. The Ontario International Airport maintaining a straight beeline, flying in the same line in a relevant position, stalking me, keeping me under surveillance at the Ontario Town Square. This is captured in images and in video. This is relevant to the prosecution, the removal of the Ontario International Airport, the removal of that airport board. They're going to be identified and prosecuted as a terrorist. And they've been conspiring my murder by gang stalking me through the airport with the intent to drive an American citizen crazy, psychologically torture them, that is, while this government has been engaged in criminal defamation. This is the purpose of Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields and Eric Spencer's defamatory testimony in court, their perjury. All right. The ongoing targeting by the federal government that's not conducting an investigation. They were gang stalking me, and they called it an investigation, and there was never any lawful investigation under any circumstances because the entity defamed me at the outset, intending to steal from me. This is the greater pattern of conduct, and this is the entity that's going to be prosecuted and removing the police, the fire department, and the airport. These are the functions, the resources of terrorism, while this government has sought to murder me maliciously in concert with the people that are gang stalking with it. This is P.O.C.
All right, this is my shadow appearing over here. That's my shadow. All right, this is the same impossible light activity during the day where the fake sun sits over this 224 North Euclid Avenue, where the Ontario International Airport has been engaged in surveillance all day long. This light activity is in front of me, and this is my shadow behind me. It's elongated, it's magnified. And they are stalking. They're engaging in surveillance with the city. They're maintaining surveillance, and demons are walking in this engineer light, monitoring. I'm taking pictures of them. They're crossing paths, and so are demons in planes and helicopters. The entity's gang stalking Mule Car Smokehouse, Metro 102 apartments, the 280 North Limit apartments. The entity's maintaining surveillance around all of the venues, including OVITT that's closed. The people that said are maintaining surveillance, the Saris Regis Group, Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, Wells Fargo, Heredura de Oro, the Unique Cafe, all these businesses, and traffic. The entity's engaged in gang stalking. All right, this is maintaining surveillance all around. And what is engineer light? This is relevant for what is surveillance. This is not normal light activity, and that's where the Ontario International Airport is maintaining surveillance in the ways in which I'm showing and publishing online. That amplified plane activity is relevant to monitoring. It's not a takeoff, and you're not taking off miles away. You're also doing so under a fake sun that sits over one address, over me at one address, where the entity is also clearly targeting in furtherance of murder. And they're keeping this evidence under surveillance while they continuously engage in that. And they're also engaging in what is sexual violence, targeting me with impossible light activity over here while they are obsessively monitoring. Those are demons stalking on Limit Avenue. This is P.O.C. This is relevant to what is ongoing stalking pursuant to murder. These are demons that are pacing all around, stalking around the perimeter. That's what they're doing in the engineer light with the entity that's using planes and helicopters. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:30 p.m.
.55 p.m. That's the entity that's still stalking, flying over the same beeline over the field of the Ontario Town Square right in front of me as I am facing, sitting on the wall facing the large clock. And the entity is hovering over this senior citizen apartment complex and over the Ontario Town Square at that volume level, which, again, the entity is maintaining that same volume and elevation much west of this location, down Hope Boulevard at the Ontario Village over this David Brothers parking lot. The entity is stalking, and they're also stalking while the engineer light is present. This is relevant to surveillance. These are demons that are monitoring. It is currently 7:55 p.m. This is P.O.C. That's the same method of audible noise, light activity. That's the gang stalker, Michael Gherkin. This is what they were doing while the demons were stalking me by helicopter, following me to 537 North Euclid Avenue. It's called criminal summoning. 7:56 p.m. P.O.C.